Welcome to Thunderbolt. Today we're talking about the things that make cat the best pet. To do that, I've invited Grace to come along. So, hello, Grace.
Hi, so my name is Grace, and this is Min. So I'm a teacher at Light School, and this is Min, who is my, I guess, partner in crime. He is about 4 years old, and we believe he's a mix of a Maine Coon and Turkish Van. He's an adoptee, slash a rescue, and I brought him from America.
All right. Mirae, could you take Min out? All right. You're our daily assistant. Okay. One of the fascinating things that I heard from you on our way here was that all your cats have been rescues.
Yes.
Could you tell us a little bit about that?
I think it's important to adopt and not shop, because when you adopt, you're taking responsibility for a life that possibly could have been in a difficult situation prior to becoming domesticated. And I think also when you shop for an animal, you're supporting breeders. And those breeders may not be ethical breeders.
Like a factory breeding
Yes,
kind of thing.
yes.
Wow. Yeah, there has been an issue in Korea as well. What makes cat the best pet?
For me, I think it's a kind of a loaded question, because I don't think cats are the best pet. Not for everybody. I think for me personally, yes, because it's the lifestyle that I live. Cats are typically low maintenance. They don't require everyday walking. They don't need as much external stimulation as dogs, per se. So I think that to say cats are the best pet is a very loaded question, because it depends on your lifestyle. It depends on what can you provide for that pet. What are you able to do for that pet? And whether or not that pet can fit in your lifestyle. If you're somebody who's gone 8 hours a day, you are not able to walk your dog every day, like a dog is not going to be your best choice. If you're somebody who cannot deal with the amount of hair, as you can see on my clothes, or can't deal with the dander that comes with owning a furry pet, I think it's not a good choice.
Yes, definitely lifestyle is one important factor, I would think. But I must think that, like personally, I have been, I think, more of a dog person than a cat person. And it fit me because somehow I feel like I was able to see what the dog needed. Whereas cats, that instinct came less of, I think. Like I guess part of it comes from the study and learning how it is, but I never really got curious as to, oh, maybe that cat wants to jump up a tower, or has, wants to do this or that, or being able to read faces. Like I'm actually quite good. I can say confidently that I'm able to see a dog's face and a tail and be able to kind of discern its mood. How has that been for you with a cat?
I think people are definitely oriented whether or not they're gonna like cats more or dogs more. But I think it's also just about exposure. For example, like my boyfriend, he, prior to meeting me, was actually a dog person. And through meeting my cats and like just being around a lot, he's actually turned into kind of a person who really, really likes cats. He still likes dogs, obviously, but he's still learning to read cats' emotions, like my cat's emotions. So for example, he knows that when the cats come to him and they like rub all over him and they want him to pet them, I think that shows that he knows, oh, they're happy, they're friendly, they want to see me.
Right.
But if he's been petting them too long, cats can actually get overstimulated, or meaning like it almost like triggers like a play or attack instinct if you touch them too much. So they'll turn around and bite you, but not in a mean way, not to say like, oh, I hate you or anything. It's just,
Let's play.
Let's play, like playtime. Like, stop touching me. But I think for me, reading my pets, like Min, if you can see him walking around the background, he's quite easy to read. If his tail is up when he sees you, straight up is happy to see you. Or if his tail is flickering, like back and forth, that means he's quite annoyed. It just depends on how you can read, because obviously animals cannot communicate with their mouths or in a way that we can understand them. So I think it's important to be able to read body language.
All right. So you've been raising cats for many years. What are some of the best ways to care for a cat?
Caring for a pet, for cats specifically, you need a lot of supplies, but usually those supplies will last you. So for example, you're going to need a litter box. You're going to need the scooper to get the litter box. You're going to need the litter. So there's many different types of litter. One litter that I discovered here in Korea was tofu litter. Tofu litter is like made out of tofu.
Okay.
So it's like a pellet. And when the cats use the restroom, basically it kind of turns into a dust, almost. It's similar to a pine pellet, which is made out of pine wood. Right. But it's a little bit different. It's not as absorbing of the smell, unfortunately. But it's a lot easier in terms of maintenance. Another one is
eco-friendly.
Yes, it is eco-friendly. You can actually flush it down the toilet, but I don't recommend that because it's actually not good to flush your cat's
right. Yeah.
defecation through the city's toilet system, because cats actually carry a bacteria that can be harmful for humans.
Okay. Oh yeah. Like I heard about cat's pee, toxoplasma, and all that.
Another thing is food. You have to figure out, okay, well, what kind of food does my cat need? Does the cat need wet food, or does the cat need dry food? It really just depends on what the veterinarian recommends.
When you say wet food, you're talking more like meat drenched in oil kind of thing.
Yes, meat drenched in oil, or it's in a can and it's like put in gravy, I guess.
What is chew, by the way?
Churu is a type of cat treat. It's liquid. It's in a packet. Typically, it's made out of meat. A famous brand in Japan is made out of like fish and I want to believe chicken. But he actually, my cat Min really likes the churu. But he likes everything, to be honest. He likes to eat everything.
One of the documentaries that I watched said it quite strongly actually that cats can't be vegan and shouldn't be vegan.
Yes.
So I think it's also important to understand their diet when it comes to food, right?
Yes. So there are some people who try to make their cats vegan, but it's not recommended because they're not able to absorb some of those same nutrients that they need from meat. That being said, that doesn't mean that they can't eat vegetables. Like there are certain vegetables that are very, very good for cats. For example, pumpkin. Pumpkin is actually very good for cats. It helps with their digestion.
Wow, I did not know that.
But it does require research, and it really depends on the breed of cat as well. So cats that are more wild, for example, maybe one closer to a Bengal cat, they require more of a specialized diet rather than like a typical domesticated house cat.
Okay. What about toys?
Toys. Toys is a very important thing to stimulate your cat. Cats can actually get really bored and they can actually get depressed and anxious just as we can. I personally like cat toys that are tied to a string and it's like a little mouse.
Right.
It has like a little bell. My cat Min prefers a feather. He likes feathers.
So is it different? You have 4 cats. So Min likes the feather and other ones, maybe Peanut likes like the bell, or is it all different? They all have their own?
Yes, they all have their own preference. So my cat Peanut, he loves any toy you give him. So he loves balls. He loves to mess around with my hair ties. But for most things, cats are very smart. And if they have a playmate, that can definitely increase their playtime and can increase their social well-being.
What about towers? Is that a necessity?
It is not a necessity. They're actually quite expensive, depending on the type of cat tower you get. They're not a necessity. However, they do enrich a cat's life. Cats like to be in a high up place. They like to have a view of all the room because they like to have control.
Oh, okay. I never saw it that way. Control. Cool.
So the highest thing in my house currently is actually my refrigerator. So they
go up there.
they will jump on my counter and then they'll jump on from my counter to my refrigerator. And they like to sleep up there, sit up there. What are you doing, Mom?
That's nice. The last question that I have is, what would be a better choice? I'm actually personally in the market of getting a cat for my daughter. For my 8-year-old daughter, would you recommend a kitten or a cat?
That's a very hard question. I think Mirae would enjoy a kitten.
All right.
However, it depends on if you want 1 or 2 cats. So if you get a cat, I always recommend older cats because even though they're kind of at the lower range of their life, they are actually better choices because you're not going to have to deal with the kitten behavior. Kitten behavior can actually be really annoying. I love my kittens. They're very, very cute, but they are still learning how to be cats. Cats are very much like children. They don't listen. They don't listen. They do their own thing. They're learning how to be, adults. Like children are learning how to be adults. They're learning life lessons. They have to be cared for. You have to clean up after their poop. You have to feed them.
Right.
You have to make sure they're sleeping enough. I think it's important that kittens are not alone because kittens need that social interaction with other cats to learn how to be a cat, to learn how to groom themselves, to learn
Things that a person cannot teach.
Yes, exactly. Like I said, grooming is one of the biggest things. Like kittens are not always going to instinctually know how to groom themselves. Another thing is like when they play, they might bite too hard. They won't know that. You can't tell a kitten, no, stop, that hurts. You can, but will they understand in the same way that an older cat might tell them?
What's different from 6 months period or pre 6 months period?
Kittens, they have to sleep at least 16 hours a day.
Ooh, okay.
They're gonna need to sleep longer just to have that playtime, but they're gonna need a scheduled playtime. So if you want to actually have a restful night's sleep, you should have an hour or 2 of playtime before their bedtime and make that a schedule and make it a point.
Otherwise,
they're going to be up at 3 a.m. having what I call zoomies, where they run around and want to play when you're trying to sleep. And that is not always the most convenient or comfortable thing to experience. Whereas cats, if you adopt a cat, they're not going to have that as much.
will cats know to appreciate a good environment if they come from a harsh environment?
Yes. So I follow a lot of, because I'm a cat person, I love TikTok because I'm a Gen Z. I love TikTok, and so one of the many accounts that I follow are actually cat rescue places or cat rescue cafes. There are a few in America. But you can see how the older cats who've been coming home from hoarders' houses or from the cases in which they were not living in a good environment, and they seemed like the worst cat you could possibly have. They were very aggressive and they were very mean. But as time went on with the rescuers' care and being able to put them in a house where they're being fostered to prepare them for being adopted, like when they realize that I'm being saved, that's when you really know you've got a cat for life.
Wow, good. All right, I guess that concludes all the questions. So yes, I'm sure they have all enjoyed today's video, and thank you for coming.
Thank you.
All right.